everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. My name is Carla and I'm the artist behind Arie Debren art. Today I want to talk to you guys about paint parties. Yes, I do paint parties, and just recently I was hired to lead a paint party for a church group. So I just wanted to come on here and talk to you guys about kind of the process. So in case you were thinking of hosting a paint party of your own and hiring me or any other artist, you kind of know what to expect. I think I do my process a little bit differently than other artists who offer this service. But yeah, it'll just give you kind of an insight on how I do things. But also, if you are an artist yourself and you're thinking about offering this service as part of your artistic or creative small business, then maybe this will be helpful for you too, to kind of understand or give you an idea about how you want to run it on your end. So if you're interested in any of that, stay tuned. So first things first, let's talk about the initial client meeting. So this client, I was actually recommended to this client, and so they reached out to me. It was kind of just a word of mouth thing. I do advertise it on my social media and not on my website. I think I just talk about it some on my social media and here on this channel as well. So this was kind of just a word of mouth thing as how the client knew about me and reached out to me. So they reached out and we spoke about exactly what the party was for, and it was for a church group who was throwing a birthday party for the first lady of their church, and they wanted to do a paint party. So I gave her my price, and basically I asked her if she had an idea of what she wanted to paint, what type of project she was considering, and she didn't really have any idea. So I was more than happy to come up with some concepts for her to choose from. And she gave me some facts about the First Lady herself, so I could have the painting kind of themed to who she was as a person. And so I told her I would come up with some concepts and follow up with her. Basically, as far as the money goes, for people out there, if you're an artist and you're considering doing this, what I told her was I'll come up with some concepts, and once she decided on which concept she wanted, which painting she wanted to do, then I would send her an invoice for half the total amount, and then she could pay the remaining balance the day of the party. Because this was a church group, they wound up just paying me in full when I sent the invoice, so I didn't have to worry about the balance or splitting it in half or anything like that. So anyway, the following week, I reached out to her with a couple of ideas that I had based on what she told me. And I just did line drawings digitally. I think I drew, actually, back up. I actually drew them out in my sketchbook first. And then I rendered them on my tablet just to digitize them, basically. And came up with a color palette for each painting. I didn't actually paint the whole thing. I just drew it out and kind of set up a little slideshow for her to look at, just kind of give an idea. Okay, this is one concept. This is the color palette for that concept. And then here's the other concept. I gave her two painting options, two drawings with two different palettes. And she chose one of the two. She had initially she said she wanted to do an 11 by 14 painting, and when I decided to add words and stuff, I don't know why I wanted to add words, but I decided to add words to the paintings. I was like, hey, do you mind if we bump it up to a 16 by 20 just to make sure we have plenty of room to add the figure and to add the words, and we're not trying to like squeeze everything in on the 11 by 14 canvas. And she was perfectly fine with that, so we went with 16 by 20. So once she approved the concept and the color palette, and at first she wanted to do two different paintings, and I told her that would be difficult because then I would have to instruct two different paintings, and I mean, I guess it's possible, but I was not trying to give myself that headache, and that's just a lot to have people doing 2 different paintings. Yeah, it was just a lot. And she agreed, so we just stuck with the one painting. And so once the client approved that, I sent her the invoice for the initial down payment, and I started working on the painting itself, the actual painting itself. So after the painting was done, I sent her a final image of that via email, and she approved the painting. And so once she approved the painting, I then ordered the remaining supplies for the party. So I had a few 16 by 20 canvases here at home, but it was going to be for a group of 10 women. So I wanted to make sure I only had like 5 16 by 20s. I needed to order more canvases. I wound up just ordering 10 brand new canvases. And I actually created a checklist for myself just to make sure I had everything I needed. Here's the checklist that I created for myself, and I will post this checklist on my blog. So if you're interested in the exact supplies that you need for a paint party, I'll have this posted on my blog, and I'll link it in the description below. So first and foremost, the canvases, which I ordered. I got them on Amazon. It came in a pack of 5, and I ordered 2 packs. Acrylic paint. I already had a bunch of bottles of acrylic paint here, but I wanted to make sure we had plenty at the party because that would have been a disaster if I ran out of paint. So I made sure to just re-up on all my paint just so I had fresh bottles, and I'm glad I did because we did end up running out of yellow. And so that backup bottle came in handy. Brushes. I did have a few brushes here, not enough for the whole party. And I didn't want to complicate things also by offering too many brush sizes. So what I did was initially I was going to only do 2 brush sizes, but I did offer 3 brush sizes. So one was, I don't have any of the brushes here with me. Okay, so here are the brush sizes that I had at the paint party. So I had like a big 1-inch flat brush like this. And I guess it really just depends on the type of painting that you are doing, but these are pretty basic sizes, you know. So I had the 1-inch flat brush, and I had a smaller flat brush like this, smaller kind. And then I also had a round brush for them. I think in the future I'm just gonna do the 2 flat brushes, or maybe, I don't know, I kind of like having the 3, so we'll see how it goes. I guess like I said, it all depends on the project that you're doing as well. So I offered those 3 sizes, and I bought a pack of 10 of these on Amazon, and then these came in a pack of, like, they came together, like half of them were the smaller flat brushes and the other half were the round brushes. I want to say they came in a pack of like 30 a piece or something like that, and these came in a pack of exactly 10. So tabletop easels, make sure you have tabletop easels available for your paint parties. So I did have a few here, but when I went to go test them out, which I'm so glad I did, because I was about to order, only had 6, so I needed to order a few more. When I tested it out with the 16 by 20, they were too small. Because the previous paint party that I had bought those for were actually 4 11 by 14 canvases, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, those tabletop easels were too small, so I wound up having to order a brand new box of tabletop easels. They came in a box of 12. I want to say it was 12 of them in a box for like $80 or $90. So that really bit into my, well, we'll talk about the profit later. But yeah, so I ordered a brand new box of those, of the large ones. So they were like 20-inch tabletop easels, so it kind of worked out perfectly for the 16 by 20 painting that we were doing. Then you got your instructional easel, which basically I just brought I work on a tabletop easel normally, so I just brought my tabletop easel from home with me, and I put the finished piece on that tabletop easel, and then I use one of the extra new tabletop easels to actually paint on. Tablecloths. They had the tables there, but you want to make sure that nothing of the clients gets messed up. So I made sure to order, I didn't order tablecloths, but I went to Walmart and just bought like the disposable plastic tablecloths that you get from the little party supply section. I got a few of those, so those are pretty cheap. And then water containers to clean the brushes off with. I just bought plastic cups. I have like a ton of plastic cups here at my house, like the disposable drinking cups, because I use them to prop up my tiles when I make coasters. And if you saw my last paint pouring video, I use them to prop up my canvases when I did the paint pouring. So I had a bunch of cups already here, so I just threw those in my box when I was packing things up. Make sure you bring a roll of paper towels. You can pass out a few paper towels to each participant to clean their brushes off with, and just to make sure if anything spills, you have something to clean up the mess with. And then palettes or paper plates. So I went initially with the plastic palettes because I ordered plastic palettes last year, the year before, when I started doing paint parties. And these are the ones that I ordered. This one's already dirty and used because I use them when I do my acrylic painting here at home. But once I set them out at everyone's station, I was kind of concerned about how small the wells are on these palettes. So I sent my husband to the store and he got me some paper plates, and I think I prefer to use paper plates over those palettes just for paint parties. I have no problem using them at home, but for paint parties it gets kind of annoying if these wells are super small and you're doing a bigger painting, because then you have to keep refilling everybody's paint. So yeah. Aprons, I wound up ordering aprons again on Amazon. I have all black aprons. I did not go with the disposable aprons. I went with the aprons that you can throw in the washing machine because I plan on doing this on a regular, consistent basis. So I felt like the disposable ones would have been a waste of money. I rather invest in the kinds that you can wash, and that way I just always have them. Also on my list is my follow me sign. So I have a sign that I use at markets and stuff that says like, follow, and all that jazz, tag me. It's all on one sign, and it has my QR code on there that goes to my link tree. And that way they can subscribe to my YouTube channel, follow me on Instagram, Facebook, wherever they like to get social at. And it also has a link to my Etsy shop and my website. So I made sure I brought that sign with me. The one thing that I did forget was my business cards. So I need to add that to my list because I don't have that on my list. So if you're an artist and you're thinking about doing paint parties, especially if you are going to your client's location and you don't have a space set up specifically for you where you do the paint parties at, make sure you have a list, and that includes your business cards on that list. And the last thing I have on the list is my camera, which I also forgot. So that's why this video is the way it is, because I originally planned for this to be more of a blog style, but because I forgot my camera, I decided to do a more informational type of video. So yeah, I'll have this list with the additions to it listed on my blog, and I'll leave the link in the description box. So next, I just wanted to offer some tips for artists who may be hosting, or not hosting, but leading their first paint party. Tip number one, make sure you're moving around and visiting with each participant at the party. Find something that you like about each person's painting and make sure it's genuine. Don't just make up anything, because people are going to be able to tell that you're lying and you don't actually like it. But I feel like as an artist, you can find the beauty in any painting, no matter how, I don't even know, like amateur a painting is. And most of the time, pretty much everyone in the group is going to be an amateur painter. It could be their very first time ever painting. But always find something to compliment them on in their painting, because you want to encourage them. You want people to walk away feeling that they had fun and that they created something that they're happy with. I had a lot of first-time painters in this group, and I had a couple of people that painted before or go to sip and paint regularly. So I had a really mixed crowd there, but it was really fun. Everyone did a really great job. One thing I also want to mention, like when you are painting the example painting, when you're creating the example painting, while you're painting it, make sure you're thinking about, okay, how would I teach someone to do this part? Like when I was painting the background, I was reminding myself, okay, use long strokes, because that's what you need to tell your participants how to make it look good and not streaky. Use long strokes. Make sure you're using this particular brush for this part of the painting, or this is how you would, just think about how you would explain to someone who's never painted before how you would create each aspect of the painting. Tip number 2, and I kind of mentioned this already earlier, paper plates are way cheaper than those plastic palettes, and they're a lot easier to use, because not only, like I showed you guys before, the wells, maybe it's just because of the palette that I bought. If you can find a palette that offers bigger wells than this, that's not super expensive, it's easy for, it doesn't take up a whole bunch of space at each station, then go for it. But you want something that's going to hold enough paint for them, so you're not constantly having to refill paint, or your helper is not constantly having to refill paint. But you also want them to have enough space to mix paint too. All right, tip number 3, make sure you're managing your time wisely. You don't want to spend too much time on any one particular area of the painting, especially if you have to be done by a certain time. So for instance, with us being at the church, we couldn't be there all night long. We needed to leave by like 7 o'clock or so. So I had to make sure I kept the process moving. And of course, you're going to have some people that are slower than others, and you don't want folks to feel like they're rushed. But also you have to keep in mind that some people, if they move through the painting fast because they've have experienced before, you don't want them to sit there and get bored while they're waiting for the slower ones to catch up. So there may come a time where you have to leave someone behind, or just go on and explain the next part and just let that person catch up. Number 4, have a helper. It's going to come in handy. That person can be there to help you set up everything, especially if you have a larger party where you're going to have a lot of easels to carry, a lot of canvases to carry. Get a helper to help you set things up. That person could also help during the party by refilling paint for you, getting people clean water, recording the process if you have a YouTube channel or you vlog, or even for your social media to help you promote the fact that you do paint parties. It'd be great to have somebody there recording getting some clips or pictures, or getting some video clips, so that way you can post it onto your social media for future use. If it's okay with your client, make sure you clear that with your client first. And my last tip, number 5, let your participants be as creative as they want to be. So yes, you have a set painting that you're going to help people aim to accomplish, but also if they want to do a different color background than what you originally came up with, let them do a different color background. If they want to add a cool pattern to the clothing that you're painting, let them do that. You know, they don't have to use the exact same color that you're using. Let them come up with their own color palette. The whole purpose of this is for people to get in touch with their creative side and for them to have fun. So let them do that. Okay guys, that's all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it was informative. If you're an artist and you offer paint parties, let me know in the comments some of the things that you may do differently from me. Maybe I can learn from you guys. And if you're a potential client and you would like to hire me for a paint party, I do travel. I travel to this paint party. And hit me up, send me an email, let me know what your what the details are for your party, and see if we can work together. All right, I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.